In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to pose and direct a portrait or a headshot using one of my favorite visualization techniques. Now, this technique is really handy when you're photographing someone who may be a little bit anxious or uptight in front of the camera. Now, the problem with anxiety or nervousness in front of the camera is that everything the person is thinking is going to be reflected on their face. So if they're anxious or uptight or constantly living in their head, all of those thoughts, and they're usually negative ones, are going to be translated onto the face. So the eyes are going to appear nervous, and even the facial muscles are going to appear really tense and uptight. So using this visualization technique is a great way to loosen people up and get authentic expressions from them.
I love the white shirt that you're wearing, and I love the way the sleeves hang, so I want to show that off in a way. So I'm going to get you in a low chair. It's a very cool way to sit, because what I'm going to do is get you in this chair. My camera's there, so I'm shooting this way, and I'm going to have you sitting and like you're kind of on the edge of the chair.
Yep.
All right. You're facing that way, so both your knees face towards the light there. And you kind of just like spread your knees at a comfortable pace, and then with your elbows you're kind of just leaning forward. All right, with your hands just pretend there's either a ring on your little finger, yep, and twirl that, yes, or you can just kind of do this, okay, like you're rubbing stuff off your hands.
Okay.
All right,
like paint.
Yeah, I guess it's like you've got a rag in your hand and you're cleaning it, right?
Yep.
And then so you're starting off in this direction. Now remember, the camera's here, yes, all right? So you're going to just then turn your head to camera. And what I might get you to do is, if I'm telling you to rotate, I'll either go anti-clockwise or clockwise, or yes, rotate towards me. So you'll kind of just come around there. And that's the shot.
And I smile.
And so, yeah, you know, the other thing that's really good to do, because all I want to do is get you to be here in the room with me, not thinking about, do I look good? Because it's like when you're sitting there thinking, do I look good? I hope this is all right, this feels weird. You get that sort of look on your face. So everything you think about comes through in your eyes, all right? So you need to just be in this moment now and thinking about how amazing you look in this white shirt. I'll give you all the rest of the direction from behind the camera. Okay. All right, does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay, great, let's do it. All right, so I have Morris on set here, and the idea is, so it's like, this is a communal workspace, and if you make the location work for you, so you can see here, if we do a little scan around, you can see that there's staff everywhere, there's tables, and what I look for in a good set is I need depth from that I can work back and use the preferred lens, and in this instance I'm using a long lens. I like to shoot long, a couple of reasons. The long lens compresses the background and brings everything forward. It also allows me to throw the background out of focus. So when you've got a space like this, there's a lot going on, there's a lot of reflections, there's a lot of lights, and if I shot this, say, with a 50 or a 28 or a wide lens, what that does is the field of view of a wide lens is going to give me everything in the frame. And it's also, if even the wide lens, the ability to throw the background out of focus is a lot less. So what I get is every detail in the background, and then I get Morris, who's competing with the background. So it's like sharp, too much detail, and he isn't the hero of the frame anymore. So shooting long, the other thing about shooting long is, say if I'm shooting with a 28, I'm going to get a wide background. If I bring in and come in with a longer lens, what it does is the field of view is a lot narrower. So you're actually getting a narrower frame, and then you don't have to worry about everything that's in the background. So all I'm looking for is a thin slice of background that's going to look good behind him. So I come in and I set up my camera and I look around, and what I've done is I've come around, I started shooting from this angle back there, but I found that I was getting poles going through Morris's head. So then I've come around and I've ended up here, and I'm looking for, through the offices there's like a nice mural. It'll throw out of focus really nicely, and it's just a nice something in the background but nothing. So there's nice depth that adds life to the shot. If I could also just throw him up against a plain background, but you end up, it's very flat and it lacks life. So I'm going to shoot through here, long lens, narrow frame, and we'll get the shot. All right, so I've got Morris on set. He's set up. I've made my background look the way I wanted to do. Now I've done a test exposure. What I want to do first is do an exposure that gets me the background the way I look. And ideally, when you're doing headshots, you want to be able to work through quickly and give your client a variety of looks. So if I can, if there's nothing better than the daylight, then work with the daylight. But you can also start with daylight and then build on that with flash. And so that's what we're going to do today with Morris. I'm starting with, it's like lovely, flat, even lighting. It's good headshot lighting, and I'm adding interest by giving a bit of depth in the background. So what I've done here, my camera settings are, I've got an ISO of 400 and I'm shooting at a shutter speed of 100 and I'm wide open, so I'm shooting at f2.8 and my focal length here is 135 and I'm on the 70 to 200. If I could, if this wall wasn't here, I'd be back there shooting this at a focal length of 200, but this is what happens everywhere. You don't get that ideal world where you've got a 50,000 square foot warehouse and you've got depth and you can work in every area. You have to make do with what you have. So often it's constantly, I will get back as far as I can and I'm looking for areas where there is depth and I'm looking for furniture that I can make good shapes. So let's get this shot done now. So Morris, what I want you to do is just rotate clockwise about 5 minutes towards me. Is that the thing? Yeah, let's see. You got it in one. And another 5 minutes now towards me. That's it. There. All right, so the deal with headshots is I try not to get crutches towards camera. I always try and have them working away from camera. And for this shot, I could bring Morris around. I could rotate him. Did you notice the cue that I gave him to turn? Instead of saying, I want you to turn which way, you know? I've given him a visual cue. So I've said clockwise, he'll think about it for a second, but he got it very quickly. And 5 minutes, you sort of go, all right, I'll just come around, and so that works. So now I've got Morris in the shape, we'll start with the shoot.
But before we start the shoot, I always make sure that the shoulder line of the shirt is nice and crisp. And what I get the model to do is sit on the back of their shirt. So it pulls it nice and snug. So you've got a great line, no wrinkles.
All right, so you comfortable? All right, so I want you to really plant your feet on the ground. That's it. Lean forward. All right, and now I want you to bring your face towards me. That's it. A bit more. Good. Now, if you need to, I want you to move your body around so that that's it. How's that feel? And maybe just spread your feet a little bit more. That's it. That feels comfortable. All right, so remember what we talked about with the hands. It's either that looks really nice. Okay, what I want you to do now is just look at your hands for a second. Okay. Now the idea is, what I want to do is distract Morris from what he's thinking about and stop him from thinking about anything else other than this moment. So I've given him something to do, which is going to try and force the photo face out of him. So this works really well. So we get you to look at your hands. All right, that's good. Okay, that's really nice. And just looking at me now. Hello, that's it. Lovely. Keep your hands moving, that's it, and pretending like there's a ring and you're playing around, that's it, and look back down at your hands and eyes to me. Good. Chin down just a little bit. Beautiful. How do you feel? It looks really cool.
I feel on the edge of comfortable and a little bit anxious.
A little bit anxious, so I need to like just keep you going. So
at this point, when you've got someone who's a little bit anxious or nervous in front of the camera, what you want to do is get them out of their thinking head, because the more they think about the situation that they're in, the more anxious they're going to get and the more uptight they're going to feel. So I give them a visualization, and what I need to do is have a conversation about and getting them to dream a little with me about places they'd love to visit or places they've been to that make them happy or people that they love, and come to a common ground, something that's easy to visualize, so that we can work on this next visualization technique.
All right, so that's an ambition of yours, to be in the Venice Biennale at some point, to be featured. All right, so that's all I want you to think about from now on. And I know you're an artist, so you're not going to have a problem visualizing this. And from the start, the moment you arrive in Venice, knowing that your stuff is on show there to the elite of the art world, all right? I want you to imagine what you're wearing. Even how your hair is, what scent you're wearing, what aftershave are you wearing, what socks, what shoes, and how that feels to be walking the streets and turning into like that place where it's on, and walking in and seeing your work on show. And the elite of the art world are there, and they're all congratulating you. It's a hit. Your stuff is amazing. How does that feel? That's all I want you to think about now. Nothing else. Let's talk about it as we shoot, all right? Because this is now, you've hit the big time as an artist.
Yeah.
So when you look at the camera now, you're a multi-award winning, multi-world exhibiting, whatever level of Medici that is now commissioning you to do the work. That's where you are. That's where you're at.
Yeah.
How's that feel?
Great.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right, feel that, and straight into the camera now. Do you know what suit you're wearing?
It might sound really boring, but I'm wearing a navy jacket.
That's all right. That works.
It's not a suit.
Good. But the smile is like someone who is now successful at an art show.
Definitely a t-shirt.
All right, great. So just lean forward a little bit for me. That's it. And own that. And with the hands, we're just working the hands a little bit. That's great. Yeah. Fantastic. That looks amazing.